See, there are mix of companies which you can apply for. So, for example, you can apply in Oracle, you can apply in a lot of other companies, could be various financial companies, or you can apply in FANG companies, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook. Preparation to get into JP Morgan or CNY or the United Health Group or other companies are totally different, and preparation to get into the leading product companies or cloud companies, which is like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, is totally different. Now, in these companies, what you should target becoming principal software engineer, which is also architecture position. But see, if you talk about these big companies, they don't have architects as such. There, everyone codes, and architects are people who are doing more critical work, right? So if you see any senior person, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, again, now when I say these companies, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple, Microsoft is slightly different. Microsoft is mix of both. It is product developers. You have consulting as well, right? In Microsoft, you would be around in 5,000 employees anywhere, even in Noida or in Bangalore, when they have, it's huge. They have thousands of employees, but there are few teams which are premium teams. For example, if you are working on Windows team, if you're working on, say, Office 365, Azure team, these are some premium teams. The rest of the teams are kind of consulting team where you work on something like services, where you support clients. Microsoft has millions of customers, clients, enterprise customers, whom you have to support to implement any of the Microsoft solutions, which could be Azure, which could be Windows, which could be various solutions like Office 365. So the top 1,000 employees that you can consider the other groups, which is Google, Facebook, Amazon. So I would suggest in applying to Microsoft, be selective on these teams, because here you will get premium experience. Otherwise, in other teams, your experience would be at par with any other product companies. But yes, definitely Microsoft is a good brand. But yes, you can apply in Google, Facebook, Amazon, and there most of the teams anywhere you go, you work on large scale solutions. Basically, what you get the chance to is to build solutions which have millions of, not only millions, I would say thousands of millions or billions of users. So obviously, or Amazon e-commerce platform or Google, any product of Google, they have reach of hundreds of millions of users at least. So what is the focus which is required there is thoroughness in system design. So that is for you as an expert, your expertise in system design is what will be taking you to these companies. Now, there is also another thing, as I said, everyone have to code in these or in these premium teams. Okay. Do you have by any chance engineering manager experience? But yes, would you like to become an engineering manager? Because that's another option for you, right? Okay. So you can grow as a solution architect, or you can grow as a engineering manager as well. Because see, whatever you enjoy, that is what you should choose. Maybe you have worked on various technologies, but being a technical person, you have been in software fields, you know, software technologies come and go. Also, people do switch roles. They get into architecture role, people get into engineering manager role. Reason is, what is your preference? So you should first try to think about what I have done well or what I have enjoyed in the past. And if you feel that you would like to work as an engineering manager, then you kind of plan and prepare for that. They have to be involved in technicalities of the projects, which is they need to mentor programmers. They need to also participate in system design, and they have to overlook into various things. They may be doing debugging. They may not be getting time to code all the time. Again, though from people to people, there are engineering managers who code in these big organizations. I've worked at Microsoft. I've worked in various leading startups and companies whose cultures are similar to FANG companies. So I can tell you, again, many engineering managers do code, but that is not something which is mandatory. If you have not played engineering manager role, this will be a long-term option. Definitely, you can't get hired right now as an engineering manager at Google or Microsoft or Amazon or Apple because right now you are missing engineering manager experience, and get into any of these big companies and is already challenging, and then getting as an engineering manager without any experiences is tough. You may get into some companies, sometimes they do consider, but these are very limited and your chances of success is also less. Always we should play to our strength and we should focus on things where we can with least amount of effort get the maximum benefit. Being a solution architect, being a technical lead, you should focus on being a technical lead. But if you say, no, I want to become engineering manager, and I say that, yes, you would need to give some time, 2 to 3 years, so that you establish yourself first in these big companies and then transition to these. A principal software engineer is a person who is a developer who will also be acting as a technical lead. He will also be taking architectural decisions. In all these tech companies, more hands-on you are, more valuable you are to the organization. So the technical roles are the highest paying, right? So you can expect your package, say, for example, from any of 90 lakhs to 1.5 CR or 1.6 CR, depending on market conditions. How did you perform in the interview? How was your technical skills? This will be very definitely, or not all is cash. This is including bonus and including stock options. These options, these are not immediately available for you, but yes, stocks are also something which you can in cash, but after some vesting period. And the bonuses are always tricky because depending on the organization policy, you may not get anything or you may get 100% or some percent, right? So this is basically the package, and definitely not here in individual contributor role, there will be high demanding role. So your expertise effort, which will be required, will be much more, maybe 2 to 3 times. So maybe your salary is 1.5 times more. But yes, the upskilling effort, which you have put in the thoughtfulness and definitely professionalism, which you have to do is much multiple times more than what is in other organizations. So yes, this is what the role at because yes, you should understand that the products which, for example, if suppose you get hired in, so you will be taking care of, say, maybe Google Mail, Gmail, or maybe you are part of Google Search team or any of the Google Cloud product. So any mistake, if it is done, that is costing millions and billions of dollars to the organization. The important thing here to consider is that you have to be a good programmer. They hire top programmers. Now, programming is all about practice. So
Right.
if I want you to run, say, 5K marathon, again, depending on what's your previous you may take 3 months to be able to run 5K marathon or may take a year to run 5K marathon, but I can't say that you will never be able to run 5K marathon, right? Until unless you have some definitely serious medical condition or etc. Same is this case. See if you work out very easily, same is programming. If you practice regularly, you can develop great programming skills. Okay. Or another example, if I ask you to say swim and learns fast swimming or masters swimming, again, I can't say to anyone, or if I ask you to do cycling, 10-kilometer cycling, I can't say to anyone that you will never be able to succeed.
Okay.
Anyone can succeed. right? So it's not, see, if you see, Google is huge. Google have around 4, 5,000 employees. Amazon is huge, more than 10,000 employees. Microsoft is huge. So it's not that everyone is extraordinary there. The only difference is people who practice programming and people who do not practice. Okay. If people who have got rejected the practice, they can also clear Google or Facebook or Amazon. So it's not that no, you need very high smart level or very high IQ level to get to this. What is required is effort, hard work, practice, right? And familiarity with the pattern. Lectures can't help you much, because if I give you all the videos, or if I give you lecture on how to run 5K, maybe you are sincerely watching. But until unless you know, wear the shoes and go and run yourself, it right. will be able. Correct. And it's also like slow process. Maybe you will do some gymming 4, 5 weeks. You will not see any difference. Right. Right. Maybe 2 months, no difference will be there. But yeah, maybe after 4 or 5 months, you will see a drastic difference. So you will have to put a lot of investment initially, and you have to be staying focused. You have to believe in yourself, and then you will be good after multiple months and after a lot of hard work. Okay. Right? Say, if you see any successful person, say Virat Kohli, right? So he would have invested 18 years of his life for nothing. And then after 18 years, he would have seen success and would have started playing good level cricket, or Sachin Tendulkar, or in any profession, if you say, even in music or in any other profession, art or music or sports. Same is the case with programming, because free is not just everything which you require. You need the practical knowledge. So in system design, there are multiple things. One is the distributed computing part, right? So basically what you need, cloud computing is nothing. It's all about distributed computing, which is a computer science. In this, you have various other streams, other subjects also important. For example, network, right? Computer networking. You need to know about various protocols, when to use HTTPS, we use HTTP, what are various security measures, how to do authentication, encryption. So the topics of networking are important. Various topics of databases are important, and various topics of operating systems are also important. Multiple subjects and topics are required here. Now, having learned also, now everything is microservices based. Everything is RESTful service based. There is containers, Docker or Kubernetes, like platforms where you can run containers. So if someone has to master, say, Kubernetes, someone has to master microservices at your level. Definitely, it will take years of exposure. To be a solution architect and be able to design solution, definitely you would need at least 1 year of thorough study on that particular topic. Most of the things you have to drive by your side, but this curriculum will give you the foundations on top of which you can build your house, right? So it's like, maybe what you will get is a plot at the map, right? Architecture and the basic infrastructure, roads, and now you have to build your house yourself on top of it. Correct? Okay. Again, because depending on your specific needs, if suppose your product is requiring Spring Boot, you can master Spring Boot. If you require to go more deeper into React or React Native or any other technology like Node.js, you can deep dive into that. But all these technologies are very vast. In different projects, there will be some aspects of these will be used. Right? So, for example, someone may use Oracle database, or someone may use MySQL database, someone may use MongoDB. Again, these solutions are very in-depth solutions, right? So you have to master all these by yourself, and definitely get into missing role. You will get to know about the pattern of the interviews, what is required to get into that. But again, this will be your effort also, which will be needed to master and learn more about specific. Because there are multiple clouds, Google clouds, Azure clouds, Amazon cloud, right? AWS or GCP or Azure. These are the three most popular ones. So again, many things are very similar. Say, for example, if you know MySQL, you can easily switch to Postgres, right? But some things are not. For example, if you know MongoDB, you cannot switch to Cassandra or Redis easily because they are totally different, right? If you know C Sharp, you can very easily switch to Java. Even if you know C, you can switch to C Sharp. You can switch to even JavaScript also, but Python could be more tricky, right? Sure. But still, many things are, for example, if else state. Same is the case here as well in system design. Maybe you are working on one big backend framework. There could be chances that with little effort, you will be able to learn other technologies. Foundation. So you get exposure to high level design. See, also another important thing we should understand is getting into these companies is one step. Being successful in these companies in efforts, right? So, for example, if I ask you to crack Google, so you can crack Google without knowing the internals of search engine. Yes, definitely. Once you are in Google, you have to learn the details of search engine. If you are working on search, Google search, it will be another level operation which you have to do, and no company can train you that. That is right. You should understand that all are necessary steps. So here, definitely you don't have to be full expertise in all the frameworks. You have to, your goal should be first to focus on cracking the issues, right? I ask you, drink the ocean. Every technology world is like an ocean. If I ask you, drink the ocean, how do you drink ocean? Right? Answer is you drink glass by glass, right? It's still because that is the only way someone can. So same here, we can one topic at a time. First, master data structures. And you being an individual contractor, and you will share your profile. You say, I'm a technical lead. Then definitely they will expect that you will be coding very fast and efficiently than rest of the employees. Yeah. So they will expect you to have a very high degree of expertise in any one program. Right. So again, as I would say, always play to your right? So if you are a bowler, focus on that, right? If you try to be a all-rounder or whatever you are, you have to play for it. I was working on a C Sharp.net, right? Now I jumped into JavaScript like the React.js and React Native. What language now I have to be my whichever you have used maximum number of years or most comfortable, which is right? Because this is required only for tracking data. Whichever you feel that for data structures, most comfortable for me, and this would be most efficient and fast for me to learn, you can choose that, right? Okay. Again, when you will get hired in Microsoft, you may be using C Sharp, or if you get hired in Google, you may be using Golang. As I said, you will be coding. Once you get into Google or Microsoft, your day-to-day work will be coding on. What you are is you are a programmer. Right? So basic skills is a coder. So as I said, if you are very good in Java or C Sharp, does not matter. But you have to be good in one programming. Right? Because if I give you a problem, anyone can solve this problem using Java or C Sharp. You can't say that, okay, C Sharp is better or Java is better or C++ is better. All are equally good, but you should master one programming language. So if you have expertise in multiple programming language, that is of no use, right? What is of use is you should have good depth in one program. If I give you a problem, you should be able to solve that problem in 30 minutes. Okay. So basically your first target is you given a lead code programming problem. You should be able to write complete code without any errors or bugs in 30 minutes or less. That is the expertise which you need. If you build that, you can clear. So there are multiple ways to achieve it. But yes, very important is what is working for you. Okay. If you're seeing that these are benefiting me, the style of teaching, the assignments, I enjoy doing this, I can get good benefit out of it, then this is best way for you. But yes, definitely there would be multiple ways, and depending on your personal attitude or style, there could be different things which may work for you. Correct? There's no size which fits everyone. Correct? So you have to basically what you have to do is in general, as I said, measure your speed of programming and accuracy of program. Practice coding on a regular basis. See, are you becoming a better programmer? And the only way to become a better programmer is by practicing. If they know the concept and if they don't have the speed, even then they will get rejected because these companies, they also need people who are fast and efficient, right? So speed is also very important rather than the concept. So both the things are important in these companies. So you have to build experience and that will come only by solving more and more problem. So if someone is starting from pressure level, they would need to solve around 500 programming labs. And it's just knowing basics of Java or C Sharp. If I ask him to become a world-class programmer, correct Google interview, he will need to solve 500 problems. And if he have solved 500 problems on data structure, he would have seen good variety of problems because there are so many topics in data structure, right? Arrays, stacks, queues, lists, linked lists, graphs, trees, multiple kinds of trees, multiple kinds of graphs, and various algorithms. So 50 topics are there. Right. And to master each and every topic, you will have to solve at least 10 problems because within the same topic also there is variety. And you have to see multiple variety of the problem so that if that comes in interview, you will be able to get intuition that solution approach will work and you'll be able to correct. Right. So I said you have to solve the problem in 30 minutes. So if I further break it down, that in first 10 minutes, you should be able to know the approach of any problem. And then in the next 15 minutes, you will be able to code. And 5 minutes, you will need to build your code yourself in your mind or just reviewing your solution so that you are double sure that it works. Because as a human, we may do silly mistakes also. Some condition may be missed out. So it's important that we double check our solution. So if you do it, design of the code in 10 minutes, implementation in 15 minutes, and in 5 minute testing and verification, then only we'll be able to clear the interview. Right. So this is speed which you have to build. Right. And this is if you would have been a fresher or if you would have been 20 years of experience person, I would have given you the same advice because you have to be first good programmer, right? So for example, if you have to get selected in Indian cricket team, first important thing is to clear the yo-yo test. What they check is, have you the physical stamina to play throughout the duration of that particular game or match? Right? And then they will check your skills, whether you are an expert bowler or so for you, you are an architect, but basic skill is programming, which you have to clear. So this you will not be able to get into the company, right? And this will take a maximum number of for you because you would have designed solutions. So if I ask you to learn any of the backend technologies, you would have good background on this, but this is something I would say focus most on this. Okay. Right. And this is a one-time effort because if you build that physical stamina, next day I ask you, okay, run, now you can run 5K. If you have to run 7K or 8K, then that is also possible. They might ask you to do swimming or once you have that programming is the physical fitness for software industry. You can get into any of the roles and you can be effective in any of the role. So this is something which everyone should focus first. Now, next thing is once you master this, you have to spend equal amount of time in system design. Because assume if I'm a director at Google, I'm hiring a 15-year experienced guy. So the expectation which I have is if I get you in my team, you should be at par with a person. So your expertise should be at par with a person who is working in Google for the last 14 years, correct? Or very close to that. So you should have, that means you should have very good understanding of building large scale solutions, system design. So system design mastery you need to, because tomorrow if I give you some portion like design WhatsApp or design YouTube, you should be able to design it, right? Or you should be able to handle it, because when I hire someone, I will check in that person that if I tomorrow give him some very complex prompt, will he able to solve or will he run away? Right? Or say, okay, tomorrow you have this project to design, say something similar to WhatsApp. Now, many people will not be able to do. They will say, no, sorry, we cannot do it, which is not what we look for in big companies. But yes, if you have good understanding of all these skills, which I said, that networking fundamentals, database, and so distributed computing fundamentals, you will be able to build this. If I say build something like Google Maps or build something like Uber, see, all are very different solutions, right? Build something like Google Pay, you the kind of knowledge of database or database which is suitable for it, what kind of architecture which is suitable for it, is very different in all these. So you have to master lot of concepts which is related to system. And if you can do that, right, then you can get it to any of these. Is coming to back to programming. I said 500 problems you have to solve. So if you spend 2 hours a day, you will be solving 2 or 3 problems. Okay. So to solve 500 problems, if you are solving 3 problems a day, you will need 150 days at least, right? Assuming in weekends you are solving more problems. Okay. 150 days is 5 months. Yeah, you will have to revise. Effectively, 6 months is required for coding. If you have good skills already, maybe 100 problem lesser you need to solve. So 5 months or 4 months. Some people will be able to do it in 4 months. Some people will be able to do it in 6 months. But this is the maximum someone will take. Okay. But yes, regularity is important. Next is system design. Right, as I said, there are so many different types of systems. Definitely you'll need 2 months of time to do that, right? So if you build these two skills, then you have won the 90% of battle. And then next 10% is on your resume and on your behavioral skills. Behavioral skills means your communication skills, your teamwork, team building skills, your conflict management skills, etc. etc. But if I ask you that you should get best resume for you or build a very good resume for you, you will say, yes, if I work 1 or 2 days, I'll get that. And you can get a very good resume in a day's time, right? So that's not a big challenge, right? Or if I ask you to build a good communication skill or have a good understanding of conflict management or other skills, being able to work in big environment, professional environment, you can do it. And maybe you will be saying, okay, I'll do few trainings and brush up my previous experiences. In 5 to 10 days, you will be very much ready for it. Right? So these three pillars are required, but you should also understand these are also equally important. Your communication skills, your professional skills are also very important, because if you don't do well in that round also, which is the hiring manager round, there also you may get rejected, and 50% of people get rejected or behavioral skills as well, in spite of having technical skills. Right. So these 50%, so if say out of 10 people, 2 people get selected in technical rounds, out of these 2 people, one will get rejected in behavioral. But it's still the difference between people who cannot crack behavioral round is less, because these guys in 10 days, if they are given good guidance, they will be able to do it well in very less time.
Right.
But if in technical topics, if someone has to come back and do definitely a lot of necessary. So this is all about what is roadmap for getting in.
Okay.
Clear? So this is the difference between people who get into these big companies and people who cannot. So what do you feel? Can you do it? There's nothing very extraordinary which is required for this. So you have this thought that yes, don't have any doubt that can you do it or that can you not. So designation which you have to go definitely principal software engineer or senior staff engineer.
Till still, how many years we can work as a principal software
So
engineer?
yeah, if you have around years experience, every 2-3 years you can get a promotion. So different bands are there between each levels. So you may become say director level person in 4 to 5 years. So you can target to become say engineering manager if you are looking to become 2 years and you will directly become senior engineering manager.
Okay.
And then you can become director and again depending on how much impact you create because number of years of experience, maybe people sometimes they get stuck in the same level for many years, 5+ years also. Some people even move from one level to another level into 2 years or 1.5 years also. So again, depending on lot of factors, which is also if they get the projects to showcase their talent. Lot of people, they don't get the opportunity also. But yes, if they get the opportunity, there is a gap in the organization, then they have to grab it. And if they are able to grab it, they can do it. They can grow in 2 years also to the next step. So yes, don't worry about it. As I said, focus on the next step, 100% energy on one target. So I showed you that once you will get into these big companies, the package I have given you the range, definitely it is more than double, right? You can expect more than double. And definitely, package is not everything, money is not everything.
Right.
Also about your interest in working in large scale solutions.
Right.
Because if I ask you, okay, if you want to work in search engine, you can't get that opportunity in SAP or Oracle or JP Morgan or any other company. You can
Right.
get these opportunities only in Google or Microsoft. If I ask you to work in big e-commerce company, right, big large scale solutions, you'll get that in Amazon or
Right.
e-commerce company. So if you have that interest and that you need that, you will get hired in these companies because these companies know that the only domain knowledge which you need is computer science or programming. So if you perform well in coding, definitely you have to, otherwise you will get rejected. So coding round is yes and no. System design round is level. If you are able to say, assume I am the interviewer, I ask you a few questions, you answer what a 10-year guy would have answered. Since you have cleared programming round and you are doing good in this round also, I'll hire you, but I'll offer you maybe senior software engineer position. If you do well and I see that yes, your answer is better than what my team years experience at say principal software engineer level would have given, then I'll hire you at principal software. Right? So both possibilities are there. Your level will be decided by your architectural skill, right? And behavioral skills also. Right? Again, both these I will compare and see what is your professional experience. How will you be able to handle complex projects? If I see that, yes, you are a guy who, if I put in front of Satya Nadella or Sundar Pichai, you will not talk nonsense and you will get some project that you will be able to convince these kinds of people. Then I'll get you into that level, which is principal software. Right? That's what is the expectation, how this work. And same format can be used to judge people at multiple levels. That's why this is used. Myself hired hundreds of people and have evaluated, interviewed many thousands of people in these big organizations. Because yes, they hire also a lot. It's not like many thousands a month, like Wipro or TCS, but still many thousands every year. So I think this is the right time to upskill yourself and upskill in the way whichever works best